Coming up next on Making Moves, Gateway Mall gets its foreclosure papers. We'll tell you what that means for JTA's second busiest transit hub. The Obama administration budgets $38 million for JTA's bus rapid transit program. And gas prices continue to rise. Many commuters are now looking to dump the pump in favor of public transit. I'm Joyce Morgan Danford. Stay tuned for those stories and much more, all coming up next on Making Moves. Welcome to Making Moves. I'm Joyce Morgan Danford. Thanks so much for joining us today. We begin with a Florida Times-Union newspaper article that has rocked the Jacksonville Transportation Authority to its core. The article reported a number of bus driver infractions as well as suspended licenses. Of the 330 drivers' records that were checked, some 2/3 of those drivers had at least one violation and in some cases several. Let's bring in JTA Executive Director and CEO Michael Blaylock. Now, Michael, JTA Board Chair Ed Burr called this situation an embarrassment. How did you feel when you first heard about it?
Well, first of all, I don't think the chairman could have said it any better than the way we all felt. I mean, this entire situation obviously was an embarrassment and made me sick to my stomach, quite frankly. Well, we have two situations, Joyce. One, the newspaper reported a number of operators with reported suspended licenses. And as a motorist, you don't drive with a suspended license.
Correct.
And as a professional operator or a holder of a commercial driver's license permit, you're required, if your license are suspended, to report to your employer at least 2 days, 2 business days. And what we found and what we're learning is that more than half of the cases that we found, the operators didn't know, and they're bringing evidence to us from their insurance carriers. Most of it was related to insurance, and that's what we're finding. So, but that doesn't excuse the fact that the license was suspended, and so we're forging ahead in terms of dealing with that situation. The second issue that we're faced with on that was the number of criminal infractions. So, Joyce, as part of our pre-employment process, when you are being considered to be hired, we do background checks. We do everything. And but what we have found over the life of a lot of the employees who've been with us for a while, they have had a series of criminal infractions. And but JTA, like most companies and most transit systems, once you're hired, we don't do ongoing criminal background checks. But in light of some of the issues that we have found, we are now going to make certain that we do ongoing driver's license, ongoing criminal background checks. But some of these cases date as far back as the 70s. So it's a really an interesting find for us. But you know, you have to deal with the hand you're dealt, and I think I've been pretty clear in terms of how the agency feels about it and basically what we're going to do to get it fixed.
Absolutely. What other things will you be doing to hopefully correct the situation?
Well, the issue is the way we look at our operators is the same way you would look at a police officer. It is a position of trust, and we have to make certain that those people that are sitting behind the wheel of those buses are of the best and highest character. And so in any organization, as we have found, you'll always find some people won't do the right thing. So what we're going to make certain is that we have the right people behind the wheel. So now we are requiring all employees to report any arrest whatsoever, and we will continue to do ongoing criminal background checks. We are also improving our internal monitoring system in terms of making certain that the licenses are valid and as a part of an ongoing and more frequent process. And as you well know, there are a number of people who were directly involved in the lack of monitoring the driver's license has been separated from the company. So I think at the end of the day, the agency will be better for it because it's going to allow us to look at things even more intently as we go forward. But the good news about it, Joyce, is that even in the midst of the reported article, our ridership is still strong. Our youth market is still strong. We have not seen any decline in our ridership as a result of the story. But so yes, it was an embarrassing moment for the authority. But more importantly, the real issue is what do you do about it? And I think we're headed in the right direction. And
continuing to move forward. And you know, ironically, at the same time that this story was actually released, JTA received the results of its annual customer service survey, and those results were really surprising.
That's really
and promising.
Yeah, that's interesting because we're probably one of the few transit agencies in the company that really partake in an annual customer satisfaction survey. It's similar to what you will find with J.D. Power and Associates when they release a listing of different companies that are involved in a service-based industry. And we first initiated that effort in 2010, and we just finished our most recent results in 2011. And it's really phenomenal to see that those customers that were surveyed, 91% basically respects and admire our operators, view our operators as being courteous, professional, and safe.
Okay, as a matter of fact, let's look at those numbers. When it comes to drivers doing a good job driving the bus, you're right, 91% agreed. Passengers felt safe on the bus, again, 91% said yes. Driver courtesy, that was good, up 9% from the previous year, an improvement. And overall satisfaction with JTA services up more than 11% from 2010. So it looks like even with the allegations that were in the newspaper, you're heading in the right direction. People are seeing the improvements, and you're working on those improvements.
Well, and that's good, Joyce. But again, like I say, if the customers are important, this is a wonderful tool for measuring and making certain that we know what our customers are saying to us. So we're going to continue to do that every year.
Okay, and we'll have more with you coming up a little later. In other news, Wells Fargo recently announced it was beginning foreclosure proceedings on the Gateway Mall and Shopping Center. As many of you know, Gateway is the home of JTA's second largest and busiest transit hub. So as you can imagine, the Wells Fargo announcement left JTA and many of its North Side customers wondering what the future holds for its transit hub. A change in ownership could leave JTA without a major transfer point and many of its customers without a ride. So we went straight to the source, current Gateway owner Carlton Jones, to get some answers. Local businessman and developer Carlton Jones faces yet another tough challenge in preparation for the next step in transition for the Gateway Mall and Shopping Center. Jones says a Florida-based investor plans to buy out the developer who now holds the $15 million note on Gateway.
The negative news about the foreclosure certainly has hurt things, but that was all part of this lender's ploy to keep the pressure on me. And for that part, they didn't have to do that, but you know, we're moving through it. The good news is that the new investors will not only invest in the medical pavilion, but they also plan to invest in the community as a whole. And by that means housing. There's a couple of senior opportunities in the community.
Part of the vision for Gateway was a supermarket, and they were able to get Publix for that. The other part was transportation, and that became the JTA bus hub. All of that became a win-win situation for everyone involved.
One of the main reasons Publix has been so successful here is because people can transfer here, go into the Publix, they know their schedule, and the buses run pretty frequently, and they do run on time. They're able to go in and do shopping and then go on home.
The news of the foreclosure proceedings has frequent shoppers and JTA riders concerned about the viability of the mall that has provided more than 50 years of service to thousands in the neighborhood.
Gateway has been here all my life, and that's one of the things that I've always known.
Gateway is a convenience place to come to, especially the people that live over here on the north side of town. See, the buses run through here. You got the grocery store here, you got the pharmacy, you even got a new McDonald's. It's just a very convenient place to come for whatever you want to do. You know, you just pick up and go.
Well, this is the second highest bus transportation center, and so it would remain.
Jones admits that from the beginning, legal and financial troubles have made it difficult for him to achieve all of his original visions and dreams for revitalizing Gateway.
And it takes 10 to 15 years to stabilize a property like this. Most developers will not touch anything like that because they want a return on the investment in 5 years, typically. Typically, that's the cycle that a bank could give you a loan. I just had a vision because I felt that it was part of my ultimate mission in life, and that's basically be a minister. And one of the ways that I've been able to do ministry is to go into areas that will improve the lives of others. I've had the resources I could have done projects at the beach or you know, some of the hot markets, but I felt the long-term commitment to Gateway was important because if I didn't do it, who's going to do it?
But what's next? Jones is confident and faithful to what he sees as a divine calling. He believes the pending deal and his plans to turn Gateway into a medical pavilion will take the 578,000 square foot center to the next level.
I just see the need here, and I see that the commitment of the community is here.
And Michael, what about this? Are you confident that JTA will have this hub?
Yes, I've had the opportunity to speak with Mr. Jones, and I'm pretty confident that he'll be able to get a deal closed. It is a major hub for the North Side. A lot of activity takes place there at Gateway. The public grocery store is there, and a number of medical facilities that they have there. So it is a major anchor on the North Side, and so I don't see us leaving anytime soon.
Okay. Well, next on Making Moves, higher gas prices push more commuters to try transit, and how a new advertising program planned by JTA could benefit you. We'll be right back.
Are you heading down the road to foreclosure, not sure what to do next? Don't worry, all is not lost. You may still be able to save your home, but you have to act now. Here's some important tips from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. First, don't ignore the problem. Contact your lender immediately and know your rights. Read and understand your mortgage documents and learn about your state's foreclosure laws. Do your research. Know your foreclosure options, including loss mitigation. Don't pay for foreclosure advice. It's readily available for free from your lender or calling a HUD-approved housing counselor. Prioritize your spending. Look for ways to cut expenses. And watch out for foreclosure recovery scams and companies claiming they can stop your foreclosure immediately. Whatever you do, don't sign any legal documents without checking with a trusted professional. Still unsure about where to start? Call this number and speak with a HUD-approved housing counselor today. Owning a home is still the American dream, and we're here to keep that dream alive.
We live in a global community where information can be delivered instantly. But having access to information and getting accurate information don't necessarily go hand in hand. That's where we come in. We are Making Moves, the First Coast's premier source for transportation news. At Making Moves, we strive to deliver timely, reliable, and pertinent information about the transportation stories that affect our community. From transit to roads, we've got it covered. Making Moves, now on Facebook.
Making Moves wants to hear from you. We want to hear your JTA story. We want to hear how JTA has affected your life. Maybe you're the Mayport teacher who sat in rush hour traffic for an hour each way every day for years until JTA planned and built the Wonderwood connector. Now she's home in about 10 minutes, and instead of sitting in traffic, she's spending quality time with her family. Or the Southside area worker who saves 45 minutes per trip by taking the Dames Point Bridge to his job at the airport instead of traveling through downtown. Or perhaps you rode JTA to college and were the first in your family to get a degree, and now have a great job thanks in part to JTA. There are thousands of JTA stories out there. We want to hear yours. Email us your story at makingmovestv@jtafla.com.
You're watching JTA Making Moves, honored by the American Public Transportation Association with its 2011 Ad Wheel Award.
In regional transit news, Clay County just received nearly $500,000 from the Federal Transit Administration for its transportation services. Now, Clay Transit will use the funding to purchase 10 new small buses for its ongoing services to the elderly, handicapped, and the veterans. The purchases should be completed by the fall and will increase the agency's bus fleet to more than 40 vehicles to help meet steadily rising demand for public transportation across Clay County. The service also connects with JTA to further expand their transit reach. Last year, Clay County citizens took more than 117,000 trips using Clay Transit. Well, Clay County wasn't the only transit agency that got some good news for its transit system recently. The Obama administration's new budget proposal includes more than $38 million for bus riding commuters here in Jacksonville. The funds would help finance construction of 2 corridors of JTA's Bus Rapid Transit Plan.
The FTA essentially recognized planning work that we've done over the last decade to really get this project in the right place, and they've identified this as a really critical project for Jacksonville, and they recognize the fact that we've done it right. And so I think the fact that they're putting us in the budget is a signal that they support the project, not only support it, but they think that we've done the right things to get ourselves in this position. The
$38 million would be split over 2 BRT corridors, one to the north and one to the southeast. The north route would pass the new VA clinic, Shands Hospital, and the Gateway Mall before heading to busy Lem Turner Road. And the southeastern route would stretch from downtown along Phillips Highway all the way to the Avenues Mall.
We would have the north quarter operational by the end of next year or early of 2014. It's right end of 13, beginning of 14, and then the following year we would have the south quarter completed, so the end of 14. And so by the end of 2014 we'll have that entire quarter complete.
Later this year, construction is scheduled to begin on the downtown portion of the project. That will focus mainly on Jefferson and Broad Street upgrades, including new buses, exclusive bus lanes, new shelters, lighting, and much more. Now picture this, you're riding on JTA when you pass a new restaurant that you would like to try. Then an audio announcement plays over the bus sound system, inviting you to bring your Star card to that restaurant for a discount. Well, that's just one of the concepts behind JTA's new transit sales program. JTA has signed a deal with a Dayton, Ohio company to run the ads on JTA buses, trolleys, and shuttles. Mike Miller, JTA's corporate sales director, says the program will help JTA's bottom line, but it will also be a benefit to the passengers.
Well, the benefit to the rider is to get to know the neighborhood, to get to know what's in that stop area, so that if there's a restaurant that they want to use, or if there's a bank that they want to go to, or something of that sort, they'll know that at that stop it's only a few steps away. On top of that, we know that a few of our customers will be running promotions with the Star card, where people can bring their Star card in and get discounts for, say, on lunches or on clothing or whatever it is they might be selling.
Similar programs are now up and running in 9 other cities, including Chicago, Kansas City, Seattle, and Dayton, Ohio. Well, this sounds really good. It does 2 things. It broadens your customers' horizons and locations that they travel, but they also get this actual benefit, and JTA gets a benefit, bottom line.
Well, you know, Joyce, in these times, you know, we have got to find more creative ways to generate new income. And so I think this is a great avenue for doing so. It's a great benefit for the customers. I mean, imagine being in an unfamiliar area,
right,
and being able to locate restaurants and different venues that could make your life better. So I'm really excited about it.
Me too.
And there's all sorts of things that these companies are bringing forward that could generate more income in terms of advertising. So I'm pretty excited about that.
And Michael, anything else that you're looking at in terms of generating some new revenue?
Well, I think it would be really nice if we had a Joyce Morgan station that you can pay me $1 million.
Oh, okay.
Pay me $1 million a year. I mean, we're going to offer the stations, all of the Skyway stations,
nice,
for the prospects of naming rights. And so I think that's going to be pretty exciting. We're going to offer a number of different venues in terms of providing the video newscasting where you could promote your products and what time it is and the weather and all that sort of stuff, and the stock market and whatever, whatever interest that the customers may have. So I'm really excited. It's just trying to find new and innovative ways to generate income. So the naming rights is putting your venues in our stations. It's promoting different venues along various routes, so not just the downtown trolley route, but we're talking about the fixed route system. So, and of course, the advertising panels that are now available on our shelters. So I think it's a good way to go for us.
It really is, and it's very creative.
Yes,
I like it. Well, unrest in the Middle East continues to fuel a sharp increase in the price at the pump. And as the annual summer travel season approaches, it's only expected to get worse. Here in Florida, gas prices have climbed to $3.70 a gallon. That's up 22 cents from a month ago and 60 cents from this time last year. That was enough to push some commuters onto public transit for the first time.
Well, and I can certainly see where, if people's budgets are so tight and, filling up their truck for $100 a week is maybe not an option. So I can certainly see where the public transportation would become something that maybe even if they haven't thought about it before, where you have to start thinking about it, if it's either that or cutting back on what exactly your activities are or what your plans are going to be. So it certainly seems in the scheme of things to be a much more cost-effective way of getting from point A to point B in a town this big.
Well, still to come on Making Moves, a Northside museum showcases several transportation inventions among its collection. That story and final thoughts when we return.
We live in a global community where information can be delivered instantly. But having access to information and getting accurate information don't necessarily go hand in hand. That's where we come in. We are Making Moves, the First Coast's premier source for transportation news. At Making Moves, we strive to deliver timely, reliable, and pertinent information about the transportation stories that affect our community. From transit to roads, we've got it covered. Making Moves, now on Facebook.
Are you heading down the road to foreclosure, not sure what to do next? Don't worry, all is not lost. You may still be able to save your home, but you have to act now. Here's some important tips from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. First, don't ignore the problem. Contact your lender immediately and know your rights. Read and understand your mortgage documents and learn about your state's foreclosure laws. Do your research. Know your foreclosure options, including loss mitigation. Don't pay for foreclosure advice. It's readily available for free from your lender or calling a HUD-approved housing counselor. Prioritize your spending. Look for ways to cut expenses. And watch out for foreclosure recovery scams and companies claiming they can stop your foreclosure immediately. Whatever you do, don't sign any legal documents without checking with a trusted professional. Still unsure about where to start? Call this number and speak with a HUD-approved housing counselor today. Owning a home is still the American dream, and we're here to keep that dream alive.
Welcome back to Making Moves. We're always looking for new and interesting places that you can visit using JTA. Well, we found a community jewel tucked away on the city's north side that's a perfect place to learn more about the scientific achievements of African Americans. This is the People of Color Scientists and Inventors Museum. It holds a wealth of information and hundreds of household items and products for business and industry, all invented by African Americans. The museum curator, Ernestine Johnson, has collected these artifacts for nearly 2 decades. She opened the museum 2 years ago so that she could share her findings with the community.
The goal right now is for the kids to be more involved in the STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And if we don't get our kids involved early, they're going to miss out.
And since the museum is located at the Gateway Mall, JTA can get you there from nearly anywhere in the city. And we do encourage you to stop by and take a look around. And it is a wonderful museum. Really, really nice museum.
Yeah, it's really great.
And now it's time for your final thoughts.
Joyce, let's talk about the people behind the numbers. And we reported earlier about 91% of our customers surveyed felt very safe and comfortable with our transit system. And what I'd like to do is, as we conclude this edition of Making Moves, that I want the viewers to see the faces behind the JTA and all the things that the organization brings to the community. And from our road building initiatives to our transit systems, this organization creates a great value to the citizens of Jacksonville and Northeast Florida. And so I want our viewers to just take a look at the faces behind the JTA.
And Michael, that does wrap up this edition of Making Moves. We're so glad that you decided to join us today. Now, if you missed any part of the show or just want to watch it again, complete episodes of Making Moves are always available online at jtafla.com. And of course, make sure to stay in touch with us on Facebook. For Michael Blaylock and the entire Making Moves team, I'm Joyce Morgan Danford, and we'll see you the next time we're Making Moves.